Welcome to day 10 of provision, seeing, receiving, and resting. Today we want to see that you have more evidence of God than you think. Our verse of the day is Psalm 77:11, which says, "I shall remember the deeds of the Lord, I will certainly remember the wonders of old." Now, over the past 10 days here on this series, you've been learning to see God's provision more clearly. You have reflected on His faithfulness, His daily care, His sustaining strength, and His heart as a loving Father. Along the way, you've begun to pay attention to the many ways He's been providing for you in your life, ways that you may not have realized before. Yet there's a good chance that you still have more evidence of God's provision than you realize yet to see. When life becomes difficult, our minds often focus on what's missing, like what's uncertain, what's unresolved. We naturally pay attention to problems that need our solutions and questions that need answers. And as a result, we can lose sight of all the ways that God has already demonstrated His faithfulness in our lives. This happened to the writer of Psalm 77. In the middle of distress, he struggled to see God's hand at work. But everything began to change when he intentionally chose to remember. He shifted his attention from his present concerns to God's past faithfulness. As he remembered what God had done, his perspective changed. Sometimes you have to tell yourself to remember and remind yourself of what God has done so you can calm your fears and worries and continue to step forward in faith. The same thing happens for us. Every answered prayer, every need that was met, every moment of strength, every door that God's opened for us, every burden that He's carried for us, every season that He's brought us through, this is evidence of His care. Individually, those moments may seem small, but together they tell a very powerful story over the course of your life. Right? The more you remember, the more you see the pattern. God's faithfulness has never been random. His character is solid. His promises are true. His provision has been woven through your life in countless ways. You may not have recognized every example yet, right? Or at the time, but they're still part of your story. And God's still writing your story. He still has more provision and more gifts for you. So I want you today to allow yourself to see the bigger picture of your life. You're not trusting a God without evidence. You're trusting a God who has already given you many reasons to believe that He is faithful, that He is your provider, and He will continue to do so. So today I want you to stop and remember. Let's take a few moments and reflect on everything that you've noticed so far during the first 10 days of the series. Review your notes, journal entries, and lists of provision if you've been keeping them. And if you haven't started, I suggest you do. Start a provision tracker. Start a notebook as evidence of God's provision. Just think about all the examples of God's care that have come to mind throughout this whole journey so far. And again, if you haven't started, you can start one now. Just reflect and ask yourself, what overall picture is emerging? Can you actually see God's faithfulness and provision? What do all of your memories reveal about God's character and faithfulness in your life? He cares for us individually. He knows each of His children. I have examples of receiving, what I need in the moment, and even little gifts and snacks and whatnot. I even when I'm out and about, and if you ever get hungry and you're somewhere and you're like, God, I need a snack, and I really wish I had this, and He provides for you. That's something, I think that's like a miracle to me. It's like an overwhelming loving care of a father when the little things come through. It's getting a cookie or a juice box or something, equivalent as his child. So just write down, remember, start the tracker, remind yourself of the evidence that God is your good, loving Father who provides all your needs, even before you ask them. We've seen that. And as a further practice, I want you to start gathering more evidence. Create a list called Evidence of God's Provision. Write down as many examples as you can think of from your life, include your answered prayers, all the provision during your difficult seasons, opportunities that God provided you didn't even ask for or expect. All the unexpected blessings, write them down, remind yourself. All the moments of guidance, strength during hardship, peace during stress, examples of His daily care. Don't rush through this exercise. Spend time reflecting on all the ways that God has been present in your own story. And this evening, I want you to review your list and thank God for His faithfulness. Notice how much evidence that has accumulated over the years of your life. You may take several days or weeks to go through this with the Lord. Like, really build gratitude and build the trust and see that God's been providing for you all along and will continue to do so. The goal is to strengthen your confidence by remembering what God has done and will continue to do, because you're his beloved child. And a few more positive affirmations for you. I call them provision declarations. These are just reminders you can repeat to yourself to anchor in today's truth. Say to yourself, I have more evidence of God's faithfulness than I often realize. God's provision has been present throughout my life in countless ways. Today I choose to remember his goodness, trust his character, and give thanks for his care. And the God who has been faithful in the past will continue to be faithful in the future. Start the evidence tracker. Start your provision tracker if you haven't already. I have a free resource on my website. It's a little PDF you can print out if you don't want to make your own little notebook. I have different ways you can address the list of God's provision. You can print as many copies as you need to and just fill them out as you go along your journey. Or just create your own notebook or journal to follow along. But write down your evidence. Every time something new happens and you're provided for, unexpectedly or expectedly, write it down. Because you will forget. And so when the fears and the worries and the concerns come back up, like, will God provide? Is this going to come through for me? You can open your provision tracker, look at all the evidence of provision, and build that trust again. Keep your minds on Jesus. Understand that God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He'll provide for you. Release the fears and worries with evidence. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to step into receiving. The first 10 days we're seeing God's provision. The next 10 days are going to be about receiving God's provision. And then we'll end the series with 10 days of resting in God's provision. So I'll see you then. I love you.